afternoon stream. I have been awake since very early in the morning, and I don't know, I'm starting to get really kind of comfortable with this new lifestyle, to be honest. I mean, being asleep by 8:30, being awake in the AM, just kind of wandering around the house, taking the pup out and letting him do his business first thing and having some coffee or an energy drink, maybe doing a little painting. Baby, will you turn the TV down just a little bit? Just a little loud. But right now I'm putting a base on a figure that when I saw the STL for this guy, I knew I had to have it. I wonder if my wife, she might be out on the back porch. So, Tracy, baby, my love, will you turn the TV down just a bit? Thank you. I love you. It's very loud. Like my speakers are. Well, I know my speakers were picking it up though, very well. So I don't want to get in trouble for streaming some copyright stuff, right? Under blue moon, you found me so willingly. Up in your arms, no time to so cancel it though. I know it must be the killing time. Unfortunately, mine. I think I'm screwing the words up, but fate up against your will. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, that was a very poor rendition of Echo and the Bunnymen, The Killing Moon, which is one of the best prog rock groups ever. And that's one of their best songs ever. Now, if you don't like prog rock, then you're probably like, what? But me, when I was young, I was Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, and by young, I mean 15, 16. When I was in my teen years, I was metalhead. And I mean real metal. I don't mean like Cinderella, even though I did like Cinderella, but I mean like Metallica's Kill 'Em All and shit like that. I was that guy, right? But then when I got into my 20s, a buddy of mine introduced me to like Joy Division. And the rest is history, dude. I was like, holy shit, I really like this. And so after Joy Division, it's natural to look into Sisters of Mercy and Echo and the Bunnymen, and of course The Cure, And the next thing you know, my genre of music that I appreciated grew 3 sizes bigger than it had been. Because, I mean, do I still love Kill 'Em All and Garage Days Revisited and Master of Puppets? Yes, of course. Those original super angry Metallica albums will always hold a very special place in my heart. But at the same time, I absolutely love, the prog rock that was coming out in the late 70s, early 80s, Velvet Underground and that whole bunch. So Peter Gabriel and whatever. So I did you a favor last night. I love favors. What favor did you do me? And I have a question for you. Do you need a special like vehicle thing to repair buggies? Because I got a buggy. I did build a buggy. I am cruising around in my buggy and I'm loving it. Like I went down to your neck of the woods the other day and came back with like 5,000 iron. So I was really happy. But the question is, I mean, got 5K in carbon sitting around. Nice. Um, my question though is my buggy engine needs some repair. And I've got a vehicle repair kit and I've got a shit ton of the wire, but it's not letting me repair it. So I'm like, is this a bug or uh, do I need a better repair tool than the one I have? Uh, I don't know. Need a okay, so I need a better welding torch than the one I have, probably. Okay. Well, I'm on my way back to my house up near Pinnacle Station, so we will see. Hopefully, I'll make it, and if I don't make it, I'll just have to run back to the house, make the torch, and then drive the motorcycle back. And you know, by the way, I am a master sword master, so I've got everything except the capstone ability. I can put 3 points in everything, and I've actually been loving it, especially the defense power, the one where you throw up the guard, and if they hit you, you do a riposte that does just a ton of damage. I mean, so I've been raiding a lot of the high end dungeons lately, trying to get calibrated servox and shit like that. Yeah, I've been doing all that, and it's not doing anything, man. I've got the repair torch. I've got like 500 of wire, but for some reason it's. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. And so whatever. Right now I'm just doing bases on some figures. How you doing, William Silva? Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I've done everything you just described, Windrunner. Pretty sure. And for some reason it is just not doing it. But once I chat here for an hour or two, I'll give it another go. You know, we'll give her another go. We'll see. But I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th. I did. I mean, I chatted with you guys for a couple hours. We had a good chat. I hung out with my wife, which was awesome. She made some burgers and stuff, and then played a lot of Dune and got the buggy built. And so, man, I had no idea of what a huge difference having that buggy was going to be. But the answer is very huge, you know? Like when I rolled in the other day and I put like 4,000 aluminum in my chest, I was like, "Oh yeah. Okay, Windrunner, I appreciate it." I mean, right now I've got to repair the tracks in the engine, and that's because I am, at least in the game Dune, and not in real life, but in the Dune game, I am a horrible driver. I have to admit that. It's like I don't know how it can be, but I can be driving in a completely open field, and if there's a rock or something to run into, I will run into it. And I don't even, at this point, I'm just like, WTF, man. And it doesn't help that I live way up on the eastern shield wall, which is nothing but freaking rocks anyway. So, you know, half the time when I'm in the buggy riding around, I'm doing like 20 miles an hour. even though I know for a fact across country that thing can get up to like 80. So, anyway, the rest of you, if you're wondering what we're talking about, it is Dune Awakened. And it wasn't long ago on this very channel that I was bitching about how there's not a single MMO worth playing and hasn't been in so long. And every MMO I've played has been a huge disappointment since Dark Age of Camelot. And yes, I was a Dark Age of Camelot fanboy. I played that for like 8 years. I love that game until it died. And then this silly little game comes out, Dune Awaken. And my brother actually is the one that's like, you need to check it out. I mean, first off, it's getting points from me because it's Dune. And your boy loves the Dune universe. Even though I've only read the first book, I still love the Dune universe. Everything about it, all the lore I've ever learned. Yeah, I'm all about it, right? So log on to this game, get rescued by some jerk off. You're standing around in underwear, and basically it's like they took Conan, the Conan survival game, and turned it into an MMO. So you have all of the survival elements of the Conan game. However, there's a lot of RP elements in the game. Factions, and if your guild donates enough to the Landsrod, you can get special rules put into place for a period of time. And of course, trying not to get killed by the worm, because if you get killed by a worm, then you lose everything. Like if you get killed by any other enemy, you will drop shit out of your backpack, and you got to go back and get it if it's that important to you, right? But if you get ate by a worm in the desert, everything's gone, and you start from scratch. Hopefully you got some extra armor or something in your house. That's all I can say about that. And believe me, I am a pro at getting ate by the worm. I've got like so many achievements unlocked on my Steam account that have to do with getting ate by worms. So, you can trust me here. I'm not lying to you. It's not fun. It's not fun. One thing I'll say about this game too, and I was talking to my wife, she's a big MMO or two sometimes, right? And Windrunner's playing. He actually was going to be our guild leader because I started the game before anybody. He invites me to the guild, and he's like, why won't you join my guild? And I'm like, I keep clicking yes. Of course I'll join your guild, bro. I mean, obviously, right? It's not even a question. Except I'm Harkonnen, like level 4 now. And he is Atreides, level 3 or 4 now. So right off the bat, I can't be in his guild. And so we either have to figure out if we want to do the betrayal, or, I mean, one option is to wait until they release the next major download or whatever, where supposedly they are going to be introducing a third faction. And if they introduce a third faction, then it's like, well, I'm going to be like, okay, you've introduced a third faction. Do we all have to do some kind of crazy long ass quest? Or is it going to be like, if you want to, you can reset? Now, I doubt they're going to do it because I'm a doubter. But in the old Dune, I think 2000 war game, there was a house called Ordos, I think. And their whole thing is they were like super sneaky. They were like, hardcore devoted to being spies and shit like that, right? So um if they introduce that house into the game, you know, I definitely want to be a member of that house. They've already said for a fact it will not be House Carino. So no, we will not be joining the imperial family, no matter how much we'd like to. It's just not happening. So no to House Carino, yes to who knows. I mean, one theory, and it's as good of a theory as any, is they could be reintroducing Fremen as a playable faction. And I mean, personally, I don't care, but some people might really dig it. So right now, I'm saving up and doing a lot of stuff to get money so that I can buy the Harkonnen cosmetic stuff so that my character can look like, the black armor with the tubes and, all that shit. Because I don't know. I try to be a good person in real life, but I find in video games, I almost always choose the side most people would consider evil. Like in Warhammer, I played the Dark Elves when I played Warhammer Online. And you don't get much more evil than them bastards. You know what I mean? I would argue in Warhammer Fantasy, the Dark Elves are probably the most evil faction. Some people might argue, well, what about Chaos? It's like, nah. The difference is that the Dark Elves do what they do for no reason, except that they want to do it. They enjoy it. You know what I mean? You can at least argue that the Chaos guys are slaves to their Chaos gods, right? Dark Elves aren't slaves to any gods. They just enjoy inflicting pain and torment on everything around them, including them. And in my mind, that makes them like the most evil because they're the ones that are actually getting off on it. You know what I mean? So, whatever. I love me some Dark Elves. I remember I convinced my 70-year-old mom to play that game with us. And I was like, well, we're playing on the bad guy side. I'm playing a Dark Elf. She decided to play a Witch Elf. So her character was this incredibly BDSM attractive elf with two daggers just running around stabbing the shit out of people. It was crazy. I was like, wow. But they messed up in that game because the only healer destruction really had was either a goblin or a chaos person, and the chaos person was really ugly. And the issue with that, my friends, is that for whatever reason, more often than not, the people who are going to play healers are women. You know, don't yell at me. Don't freaking shoot the messenger. You know, if you disagree, that's fine. You're allowed to disagree. As a matter of fact, I would like it if you disagree and explain why. But it's my experience in MMOs that healers, the majority of the time, are being played by women. And when they made the one healer really, really ugly, like there was no way to make this healer attractive at all. What it meant is the destruction side of the game had a huge deficit of healers because all of the women who would normally want to play a healer were playing a witch elf or a sorcerer, a dark elf sorcerer, right? And I like to think they didn't do that on purpose because that would have been messed up. But, whatever. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. And you just deal with it. So I'm looking for my signs. Oh, look at this. That's a blast from the past. Battlefleet Gothic fleet registry sheets. Of course, I can just print them out, but I still got the thingamabob there. Right now, I've taken the arms off of a Empire flagellant, and I've thrown them on this bunny. And if you're wondering why, it's because one of the big humanoid tribes that you can run into in the Gamma world are the Hoops. And Hoops are humanoid bunnies, they're mutants, and they are generally really, really not going to be your friends. You know what I mean? Like they're going to try to kill you and rob you, and basically they're not going to be your buddies. You're not going to be like, oh, it's the Hoops. Let's all go hang out and have a good time together. That's just not what's going to happen, right? So I am putting together some Hoops. Of course, they could also be used as some kind of weird aliens in like Star Frontiers or something. But there it is. There they are. Is that it? No, that's it. Right here. I've got like 3 miniature boxes stacked up here. So it's like, what a mess. I really, 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 I keep saying this, but I mean it. I am like 80% done cleaning this room. If I would just bring in another one of my clear storage totes and put the rest of the stuff I never use in it, the room would be clean. Hey, James, what kind of game did you have last night? I mean, what'd you play? Because you know me, I'll play about anything, honestly. Got your game at last. Nice. I was asleep by 8:30, but I had spent about 5 hours running around Dune trying not to die. Oh, and another thing about Dune, I'll tell you guys, unlike every other like MMO you ever played, you cannot AFK in Dune. I mean, you can, but only if you're standing in your house and you've got a lot of water, like you've drank a lot of water. But if you AFK in Dune, like somewhere, when you come back, you're probably going to be dead because the world itself wants to kill you. Like if you're standing in an area that isn't sheltered and a sandstorm blows by, you're dead. If you're standing in an area and there's no shade, you get heat stroke, you're dead. If you just run out of water, you dehydrate, you're dead. I mean, so the world wants to kill you. Worms want to kill you. And then all of the bandits and people in the other noble houses and Sardaukar and all that shit, they want to kill you too. So just surviving in this game is like a huge plus. Borrow Maze, I love Borrow Maze. I have the hardbound Borrow Maze Deluxe, love it. But Gillespie, I like Gillespie stuff, and the only reason I run OSC instead of his Dragon Slayer is because OSC is got a better setup. It's formatted better. I mean, and that's nothing against Gillespie. Like I said, I love Gillespie's work. I own Dragon Slayer too. I paid the $80, bought the book. But if you open Dragon Slayer and you open OSC Advanced, the formatting of OSC Advanced is worlds above any other game. Drakenfell is more eviler than thou. You're gonna have to tell me about Drakenfell, because one, in real life, I'm not evil at all. I'm actually quite the softy. You know, I pray for everybody and say my morning prayers and try to be a good person, even though sometimes I'm not. Got to see your twin brothers and a newborn daughter. What a wonderful day for you. Happy 4th of July, even though, it wasn't for the same reasons for us. But like I told everybody in my chat yesterday, just because you're not American doesn't mean the 4th of July isn't a good day to like party. I mean, we do it with Cinco de Mayo, even though Mexicans could give a shit less about Cinco de Mayo. It's not actually their Independence Day. It's just the day they defeated like the people of Mexico defeated a French army in a battle on the 5th of May. I mean, but it's like St. Patty's Day. When you're in Ireland and St. Patty's Day, you go to church. You know what I'm saying? In America, you put on a goofy green hat and you run down the street drunk as shit. So if you guys want to take any of our holidays and use them as excuses to get drunk, I, for one, fully endorse the idea. Spread the wealth and all that, right? The cheer, the good vibes, whatever we're calling it. But William, I don't know about Drakenfell. I'll be honest, I've been so addicted for like the last 3 weeks. Well, since it released to Dune, that I've barely got anything hobby wise. It's like every free moment when I'm not helping my wife with something or whatever, I'm on that game trying to get shit, I recently unlocked the highest level of sword master. So of course I had to make myself the best sword I could. And I'm running around, and you got to remember in Dune, the slow blade pierces the shield. And that's a thing, So you run up and you just beat someone until they're stumbled and they look like they're off balance. And then you do the power attack and you hit, pow, put the sword right through them and they die. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I've also maxed out Mentat. And Mentat's got some pretty good abilities. But for my play style, I started out as a trooper. So generic soldier. And I like a lot of trooper abilities. But for the way I play, Swordmaster is definitely the way to go for me. So anyway, I clipped the torch off of the bunny rabbit and I put a yield sign on. Because, I mean, it's Gamma World. So, what would be a better shield than some random aluminum sign you found somewhere, Plus hoops, if I remember from reading the book, and my memory's not too horrible, they generally are known to carry like a lot of artifacts and stuff. So, like anytime you fight a group of hoops, there's a really good chance they have artifacts on them. So, but Sacha, yeah, congratulations, man. So your twin brothers had twin daughters. I'm assuming there was a woman involved in there somewhere. Awesome. So good. So good. Oh man. One of these days you guys are going to see me have a heart attack live on screen. It's like I'm drinking a 0 sugar grape monster energy drink and a big mug of black iced coffee at the same time. Probably not good for me. Well, come on, William. You mentioned Drakenfell. Come on now. Tell me about it. If you're still there. Now I'm getting ready to do what I do, which a lot of people don't do, don't like, whatever. I hand primer a lot of my miniatures because I live in a state that generally has like 100% humidity. and is 110 degrees out. And in those conditions, a lot of times, um, rattle cans will F up big time. Are you talking about the dude that had the big like witch hat that was made out of human skin, and like he had the human skin cloak? Is that who you're talking about? Because I have that figure, the metal one. The like when I bought it, he didn't have a name. It was just Necromancer, and he's got like a staff with like a skull with bat wings or whatever, and like most of his clothes is made out of like human skin stitched together. Wow, twins. Yeah, my nephew. I have twins in my family too. I don't know. Maybe it's a Slav or Scandinavian thing or whatever. We share, but yeah. Um, on the Danish side of my family, the side of my family that's like 80+% Danish Scandinavian, twins for some reason are super common. So not identical, just them women be letting those eggs loose more than one at a time. That's all I'm saying. Which is good because I mean the man contributes millions of sperms, and at least if the ladies are letting more than one egg loose, I mean you've got two winners instead of one winner, right? Out of millions. So that at least that's a little better, right? You know? But that's the kind of weird shit I think about. So anyway, yeah, paint these rabbits up, these hoops. Like I've got a hoop here, and he's carrying two revolvers. But I mean, the pure strain humans, a lot of times they start in villages that have the technology to make a revolver. So, revolvers aren't really like unheard of. It's not like a super rare thing. It's not like, finding some kind of advanced assault rifle or anything like that. It's a revolver. And then a lot of mutant humans, their civilization level tends to be like frontier America. No, he had the long cloak and deer horn steel helmet. Oh, no, I never had that guy. The guy I had, they eventually gave him a name, and it's like Himmler. I forget what his first name is, but it's something Himmler. And he's like, all of his clothes are made out of human skin. And stat wise, he's a badass. You know what I mean? He is definitely, if you're playing undead and you need a boss necromancer and you're not going to pay all the. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we just spent all day talking about how, um, it's awesome. 4th of July, America's still standing, and how I spent the day saying I wanted to share the 4th of July with the whole world. Like, you know, tilt a beer up for your bros over here in North America. Because a lot of you, like Finland, if anybody F's around with Finland, they're going to find out because America will send the death Doritos. And, nobody wants that. We got to see him fly over the White House yesterday. The B whatever stealth bombers. So Finland, I mean, tilt it next time you're in the pub, tilt one up for us. We got your back, bro. You ain't got nothing to worry about from any aggressive neighbors. Because I tell you, I know that Finland joined the EU, and that's fine. But if I was any country in the EU, I would not count on actual help from any other country in the EU, except maybe Poland, because those guys they just been going off the chain lately. But I mean, let's say in some weird universe, Russia decides they want the Archduchy of Finland back. They're never going to do it, but let's pretend, right? I wouldn't count on the Germans or the French or anybody like that to help you. But the US would definitely be like, hey,
Today will not just be known as an American holiday, but the holiday for the world. Our Independence Day.
we watched that because that is a tradition
Uh,
in our house. Bill Pullman, uh, freaking the Fresh Prince of Bel Air before he turned into a total cuck,
yeah.
and of course Jeffrey Goldblum. And who doesn't love Jeffrey Goldblum? Like he's good in like everything. Come on.
He's
Jeffrey
weird in like
Goldblum is like good in commercials where they're just trying to sell you apartments.
life.
And you're still
Finds a
like,
way.
damn, he's good. Yeah, Bear turned 55. I mean, Bear isn't here, and I don't know. He's been kind of uh doing his thing, like not he's not like mad or hating on anybody. He's just been real busy. So I see him sometimes and we chat. I know me and Hunger were kind of aggravating him the other day because we were talking about Indians pooping in the streets. And he's like, hey, that's awful close to racism. And we're like, but it's true. I mean, people who go to India say they see Indians pooping in the streets. So, I mean, it's an actual thing. And, but Bear, I think, being a Canadian, he's a lot more concerned with being,
Being
I
politically
mean, I
correct.
hate the stereotype, but he's just a lot more polite. Whereas Hungar doesn't even know what the meaning of that word is. Hungar's just going Hungar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I don't like the EU at all. And I don't like the fact that America deals with them very much, except lately I like it because, they call our president daddy and, they know the deal, right? That if America leaves the EU, they are completely effed in the A. They're done. And I wish we would. And then we could form our own little alliances and stuff because the EU is like, hey, join the EU. It'll be awesome. You'll be able to trade with whoever you want and move here and move there. But the fine print is, oh, and by the way, a group of unelected assholes in Brussels somewhere are going to actually be in charge of your country now. So in order to be a member of the EU, you basically have to give up your sovereignty.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like, why would any country want that? Yeah, yeah. See. I didn't get into Old World. All of my Warhammer stuff I'm talking about, I've had since like Battle of Skull Pass. I actually was playing before, but when the Battle of Skull Pass came out with the goblins and the dwarves, I bought 4 boxes, not at one time, but over time, right? So I built huge armies, right? Night goblins, dwarves. I gave Windrunner the dwarves. Windrunner sold them instead of offering to sell them to me first, which I have to admit, a little hurt by. I know he's my brother, but if I give you an army worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars, I have to be the one you go to first, right? And he didn't. And I'm still aggravated because he painted most of them. And when he sits down and paints, is a really good painter. So I would have loved to have that dwarf army back, but I still have the goblins. The only goblins I don't have are the spider riders. I don't know what I did to them. but they're all gone. But I replaced them all with Wolf Riders. So, but I wouldn't get into the new old world. It's trash. It really is. It's trash, and I hate it. And one of the main reasons I hate it is, how do you put out a fantasy war game called the Old World and then immediately say, oh, and by the way, we're not really going to support the Dark Elves or anything? And it's like, wait, what? Like, the Dark Elves are like major players. You know what I mean? I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy style. So anyway, I told everyone in my game chat when we are talking about Dune that no one can play a Fremen, except they can kind of play a Fremen, depending on what career, like background they choose. If they want to say they're a Fremen that lived in the city, city Fremen, they can do that. But all of the Fremen from the Sieges have been wiped out. So yeah, none of that. So one of the guys who wanted to be a Fremen decided to be the house officer, which would be like, in movie terms, Gurney Halleck. And the other one wants to be a sword master, which in movie terms would be Duncan, Idaho. And then, my wife's character would be Paul Atreides, except a female, and not trained in any Bene Gesserit stuff. We've got the sheets here. In this game, you make your house first, and you pick the things your house is known for. So they're going to have to decide if their house is known for mercantile stuff, war, espionage, smuggling, whatever, Oathmark is better. No, we just the thing, Satya, is Vermintide 2, you get to go to this castle. Nice. I haven't played Vermintide.
I almost did.
There is a Dune
like
role playing game, and it's one of the 2x20 games. So I'll show you a character sheet. Right? No, wrong character sheet. These are Gamma World Second Edition character sheets. When you make a character, right, you spend points on duties and focuses, right? And then you can pick extra traits. Like, so under battle, if you wanted to, you could put dueling, long blade, something like that. And then that would give you a bonus whenever you're doing that. And you basically combine the two numbers together that make the most sense for what you're trying to do. Roll 2 die 20, and if you roll under those numbers on a die, that's a success. And then, of course, your character can get talents that can allow you to roll extra dice, up to 5. You can never roll more than 5 die 20, but up to 5. So it plays basically, it's the same system as all the other Modifius systems. Yeah, exactly. See, you're with me on this. You and me, man. You and me. We're like peas in a pod, Satya. Exactly. Peas in a pod. So it's a Modifius game. First time I read it, I did a review on it, and I gave it a really bad review because I was like, there's just not enough there, I don't think. And then it's like, this has happened a couple of times with me, where I read a game and my initial response is, I don't care for it. And then at some point, I reread the game. And at that point, I'm like, oh shit, it's actually a really good game. The other game that I did this with is Vampire 5th Edition. The first time I sat down and read the rules for Vampire 5th Edition, I hated it. I was like, this is the worst thing ever. I would rather just stick to 20th anniversary edition. Screw this shit, right? And then between rereading the rules and watching a lot of Black Lodge Games videos about vampire, I realized, no, I'm an idiot. Uh, Everything in the game that I thought was bad turned out to actually be good. And I know this seems weird, but like one of the things I hated the most was the hunger die. But then when I actually sat down and thought about it, I was like, the hunger die is what keeps people from playing vampire as if their
Wow,
characters are
really?
superheroes.
I didn't think Gate would have another season.
Oh, is the gate the one where like the Japanese Defense Force goes into a fantasy world?
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Oh, I love the first season. That's one of the
Yeah.
very few animes I liked.
It's getting a second season apparently.
Well, I mean, after 10 years, right?
Yeah, after 10 years.
No, that was a good one. Yeah, like
Yeah, I
a
liked
gate
it.
opens up in Tokyo and
It
like
was a little
everybody's
weird, but I
fighting and
liked it.
shit. Yeah, yeah, I like it. I mean, it's really, I mean, it's not really any different than like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe if you think about it. You
Yeah,
know, it's
except that
like
it's a military going going in
instead
a
of some
few kids.
kids who
Yeah,
form a military and lead a revolt.
yeah.
I mean, but what I meant by that is that, I mean, the idea of a gate opening between our world and some
Fantasy world
crazy other world is
with
not an
dragons and
uncommon trope at
elves.
all.
No,
There's a guy out there, I think his, what was his name? The author? He has a whole series of books about a guy who on Earth has leprosy and everything like that, but he somehow goes to this fantasy world and he thinks he's dreaming. So the first woman he happens across, he brutally rapes her until he eventually figures out, holy shit, this is real. You know what I mean? Um, and then of course he has to change his behavior because like, but Gate was a good anime, and they've got a guy working on Berserk, so maybe in our lifetime that'll finish up. So you know,
maybe there's a chance that they'll redub Detective Conan. Then I wouldn't hold my breath on that one.
but which that's the one that I care about is Berserk. You know,
I just wish I could have seen more Detective Conan. That one was one of my favorites from the day.
Detective Conan.
Yeah, because it was a really good detective story. It was the who done it that I really liked.
It's so funny how like Japanese people they make anime and it's like they use terms and stuff in the anime that are very Western,
Yeah.
but you can tell they have no freaking clue. Like what it's like in the original, what was it, Dragon Ball Z? The one guy's name was Satan.
Yeah. Yeah. They changed it in the
What's her
English
name's
dub, but
dad
yes.
or whatever?
Yeah, in the English dub they did change it. Yeah, original dub they had it as Mr. Satan.
Yeah, Mr. Satan, because they're like,
The parody made a good joke about it. It's like, do they understand what that means? And it's like, oh yeah, they do.
yeah, it's like to them, it's like if we open up a book and start reading about the sun goddess Amaterasu,
Amaterasu.
yeah, we're
I'll
all
be
like,
right
yeah,
back.
whatever, right? And we don't care, and they're the same way about like a lot of stuff that we got going on. They're like, Mr. Satan seems like a good name. Let's do it, you know? And it cracks me up whenever I see stuff like that. So you've got Detective Conan. You know for a fact that whoever come up with that story read or heard or whatever something about Conan, or maybe just really like Conan O'Brien, and was like, that seems like a cool name, and just threw it in. You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking it. I think it's kind of awesome. Yeah, gate. The gate opens up and all the Japanese soldiers run through and they end up in the Everglades. And they're just like, wait, what? Can you imagine? They meet Florida Man and he looks like the old dude from like Dragon Ball Z, like missing teeth and shit like that. All like, they ask him questions like, where are we? And he's just like, I don't know. Do you got any meth? And then somebody gets killed by like a 20-foot green python. It's like, this alien world is deadly. We need to, do stuff. It's like, no, it's just the Florida swamps, buddy. Welcome to American Australia. You know what I mean? The Australia of the U.S. Like if Poland is the Texas of Europe, then Florida is the Australia of North America. How you doing, George? George, did I ever tell you that you share a name with someone that one of my family members that I was very, very close to? Ever told you that? My mother's mom's name was George. Not just George, obviously, but yeah. Her name was George Ann. So you said that together, George Ann. Kind of like how sometimes you see people named Bobby Sue or
I'm back.
I didn't even know you were gone.
I had to go get something. Sorry.
Again, you don't have to apologize. I didn't know you did anything. Yeah, George Ann apparently used to be a fairly common name, like back in the 20s or something. But
Oh wait,
it's kind of like Carol and Shannon. Anymore, when you meet some girl, if her name is Carol or Shannon, you're like, cool, right? Those are boys' names. I have an uncle named Shannon and great uncle Shannon and great uncle Carol. I don't know if it's a Scots Irish thing because that's on the side of my family that's mostly Scots Irish. Fearin is getting a second season next year. Oh man. Yeah, like Marianne, Bobby Sue, whatever, Lucy Lou, whatever. So George Ann was like her name. And her mother's name was like Izzy May. Not last name, obviously. They had a weird last name that I still can't find the etymological basis of. Like I've typed in the name and been like, where's this name from? And the computer's like, beats the fuck out of me, So, but yeah. George over here is named, got the same name as my grandma. I can hear my wife listening to the news. The new thing. I guess they're going to give ICE so much money that technically they're going to be like the third largest army on the planet. Like literally ICE will be larger budget wise than the entire Russian army. It's like, God. Okay. All right. I mean, if somebody asks me, is this what you voted for? I'm going to be like, yeah. I mean, yeah, honestly. This is what I voted for. So, no complaints here. Yeah, they go through. Yeah, right. Your fantasy knight and his valets and squires and shit get portaled into the freaking bayou somewhere. Like, oh man. So yeah, that would be not a good time for anyone, I'm thinking. Maybe funny if you're like a really twisted GM, but um, going back to Dune characters, like 2 or 3 of the people that are in my game group chose to be mentats. So definitely not going to have a mentat issue. 2 people chose swordmaster. Like I said, one chose officer, one chose Zion, which, noble. And then we've got one that chose smuggler. Oh, she's been sick. Okay. Yeah, that sucks because again, I like to say how much I hate anime, but I love Freyrin. And I've watched the whole season multiple times. Multiple times. So Freyrin is one of the few animes that gets a pass in my book. There's a few of them. Freyrin is definitely one of them. And not that anyone asks, but because I'm live streaming, so it's my job to talk and maybe entertain somebody. Number 2, Cowboy Bebop. All of it. The movie, all of it. Cowboy Bebop gets the pass. It's awesome. And then Berserk, obviously, is an anime that it's like, yeah, you're going to watch Berserk. It can take place anytime you want, George, the Dune game. However, I am using the alternate universe depicted in Dune Awakening, where Paul Atreides was never born because he willed himself not to be born, because that's how powerful he is. He looked through all of the futures and there was one where he was never born, so he picked that one. So Paul was never born. Jessica gave birth to a daughter, and because she did what the Bene Gesserit told her to do, they promoted her and trained her to be a truth sayer. And because she became a truth sayer, she immediately detected Dr. Yui's bullshit. And there's a bunch of, because of this, then this happened, and this. So the House Atreides was never wiped out. But the Harkonnen are on Arrakis with House Atreides, and the Emperor has declared what they call the War of Assassins, which is, it's like a war, but it has to abide by the rules of Canly. So it's a very ritualized type of war, plus a lot of assassination. And also the Sardaukar decided to just go ahead and wipe out all the desert Fremen. And they did. And they did. So the only Fremen that exist in that universe are the ones that lived in Arrakeen. There was a new show from the guy who made Cowboy Bebop called Lazarus. See, I might look into that. Cowboy Bebop, though, I mean, it's like the granddad of anime.
Yeah, probably one of my top 3.
Yeah, it's been around forever, and it just had that whole vibe,
Yeah.
right down to when you're sitting down to watch it and you hear the voice, hey, get everybody together, get all our stuff. It's time to get out here. 1, 2, 3, go. Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun,
3, 2, 1.
dun-dun.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
And it's got that whole jazz kind of thing
Yeah.
going on.
Yep.
And then you've got the bounty hunters that are always on the verge of starvation.
Yeah.
Spike's always complaining, man cannot live on carbohydrate alone. what happened to that million wulong we got from the one thing? And friggin' Jet's all like, well, we had to pay for this and that, and there, all the things Spike broke. And he said, and that killed the dough. So we're having Jet's special pepper and onion, which is no beef, just peppers and onions. Jet was an interesting character too, like the one where he went back to like Tijuana and his wife was there and she'd gotten involved with like bad people and
I think that was Spike's old crew that he used to run around with, and
yeah. Yeah, well, because Spike ran with that gang that was led by like the three, they looked like babies almost.
yeah,
But then Vicious killed them all and took over. And so good. I mean, it was just, there's so many good episodes of Cowboy Bebop. Like
yeah.
every one of them are great.
There was that really weird one with the thing in the fridge that killed everybody, but not.
Play the Fremen that screams break. George has been watching 1986 Dune, which I have to say I watched yesterday with my wife, who I guess has never watched it. So I had to like explain things like bit by bit, like why things were happening. And even though David Lynch went completely buck wild with the movie and just did whatever the hell he wanted, I can't help but still like the movie, you know? Plus, the soundtrack was by Toto. So, you know. And I didn't know this until our good Canadian buddy Bear told me the woman in that movie that plays Chani is the same actress that played Rachel in Blade Runner. And I was 55 years old before I knew that. But yeah, the Dune 1986 is a lot more epic, I think, than the other ones, but way different than the books. But it's more mythological and epic, and there's a lot more like psychological crazy shit going on, which makes sense because it's David Lynch, and let's be honest, everything David Lynch did was like crazy as shit. I mean, you know, Twin Peaks was like the most normal thing he ever did. And that movie is crazy as hell, that series. And if I have inspired you to watch Twin Peaks, watch season 1 and season 3, you can ignore season 2 because it's just absolute garbage. Just hot garbage. Memories. Okay. But yeah, that got to become a Fate of Keen. You know? The Fate of Keen, the red hand of Paul Maudib. See, what's weird is in the 1986 thing, it talks about how where there was war, Paul would bring peace. Where there was hatred, Paul would bring love. No. What actually happened is Paul unleashed his Fremen armies on the rest of the universe in a grand jihad that led to the death of tens of billions of people. And Paul didn't want to do it, but he saw all the futures, and that was the one that was the best outcome. The Fremen would actually land on worlds and be like, do you accept Paul Maudib as emperor and God? And if you said no, they killed you. That was just it. So, no, he did not bring peace. He brought a jihad that swept across the entire universe. And a lot of people hated him for it, which is why they kept trying to kill him. And eventually they blinded him by detonating atomics near him. And it didn't kill him, but he saw it go off and it burned his eyes out. Not that it mattered because he could see without his eyes. So, oh, I got a wedding update. My nephew is getting married to a beautiful young lady, and um,
Congrats.
We're gonna have to drive up there at some point. Oh, they got a website. Wow. I have to show this to the wife if she didn't get it. I love it when they just tell you the stuff that they want. I mean, usually, like the last wedding we went to for a niece, we just gave them like a gift card for like however many $100 it was, because it's like easier to it's just so much easier to be like, here's money, go do something, go live your best life. You know, it is we gave you money, go spend money on stuff you want, and we'll be happy with that, and hopefully you'll be happy with that, and that's basically how I like it. But sometimes it's not that way, unfortunately. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, that's the thing. The David Lynch Dune, he goes hardcore into like the really like psychological weird stuff. Um, Now, if you wanted to know which Dune movie was the most like the books, it's the sci-fi miniseries. Yes, Paul saw the Golden Path and he wouldn't pick it. So eventually he allows himself to be killed, and his son Leto the Second takes the Golden Path. And everyone absolutely hates Leto the Second because he's a tyrant. But he has to be a tyrant for the he rules for like 3,000 years, and he has to be a tyrant, otherwise humanity will go extinct. So everything he does is to prevent the extinction of humanity in the end. Of course, no one knows that. Plus, he keeps reincarnating Duncan, Idaho. Like during the reign of Leto the Second, Duncan, Idaho is reincarnated literally hundreds of times. And Leto kills him literally hundreds of times because it's always Duncan involved in assassination attempts. He got close one time when he burnt the legs off of the God Emperor. He burnt one of his legs off with a las gun.
Today I did watch a video from Black Lodge Games.
Black Lodge Games, those guys do great videos. I mean, I don't know much else about them. I know that they have always been friendly towards me. Like when I talk to them, they're always like, "DM James, what's up, bro?" So I mean, I like them because they're friendly towards me, and I like anybody that's friendly towards me. But we don't know each other really well. But I will tell anybody, if you want to know about how to play vampire or anything like that, you watch Black Lodge Games videos. The skinny guy, when he gets into like the ins and outs of how you should run a vampire game, that is some like next level shit that people should absolutely not right this second hang out with me for a while. But if you're bored later, go check out the Black Lodge game stuff. It is really, really good.
Yeah, I just watched the video about the elusive man from Mass Effect.
Yeah, they make great videos on like all kinds of different subjects, but for me it's the vampire subject that they make videos on. I mean, to
Hey,
me, no one makes better videos about vampire than they do. Because, and this is why I converted from being a second edition vampire appreciator to a fifth edition appreciator, In fifth edition, because you always have to deal with hunger dice, no matter how many disciplines you have, your character is never a superhero, right? You can't just, fleetness all over the place and essence all over the place and just do whatever the hell you want because you've got a 15 blood pool. So who gives a shit, right? About how much blood you spend. You can't do that because you will get, in fifth edition, you will get in trouble because every time you do all that crazy shit, your hunger dice will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And eventually you're going to freak out and get involved in shit you don't want to be involved in, basically. So in fifth edition, the hunger of the vampire is a constant thing that you have to worry about. Whereas in earlier editions, you barely even have to give a shit about it. And that's something about earlier editions that I find lacking now. Because, like I said, depending on what your generation is, you're going to have, say, 10 to 15 blood pool, right? So anytime you want to use an ability, you're just like, okay, I got to spin a blood. Dink. Use the ability. No big deal, right? But in fifth edition, you want to use ability. It's like, I got to roll these dice. And if I mess up, I'm going to get a hunger die added to the rest of my die pools. And that means that every time I do anything, the chance of me just freaking out and turning into a monster goes up. So, it makes you give a shit about the fact that you're a vampire. And it takes away the idea that you're just some kind of all-powerful
superhero
thing that can do whatever the hell you want, because you can't.
Which is probably the way it should have been the entire time.
You can't, my character has maxed out so much stuff, right? Which has ended up being a weakness for me because I maxed out like disciplines. Every XP I've earned in 2 years has gone to disciplines. I haven't raised skills or anything, right? Attributes or nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm recently finding out how that is a bad idea. But when we were playing second edition rules, my character was basically Superman. I'm strong enough to pick a dump truck up and throw it. I'm so fast that when I move, you can't see me. And it's like, I don't know, it's boring, is what it is. After a while, it's just boring. It's like there's no stakes. You know what I mean? That's how I would say it. There's just no stakes. And the only thing the DM can do to keep a character like mine in order is to introduce even more powerful characters, which as often as not just ruins the game. Because then now everybody's like, oh, so, we've got a fourth gen vampire roaming around, because that's, the only way he feels like he can keep us in check, right? Whereas using fifth edition rules, you keep yourself in check. Because I'll tell you what, you get 2 or 3 red dice in your die pool, and all of a sudden you're seriously really, really considering everything you do. Because anything you do could lead to your character just freaking out. And that, of course, could lead to a blood hunt or, and then add to that the fact that in the fifth edition, all of the 3-letter agents in the world know you exist. So it's not like you can just run around with impudence and just as long as you stay out of sight or whatever, you can do whatever. because at any damn time, the FBI could be at your door, and the team the FBI sends, they know what vampires are, and they're ready for it. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's not even counting the church. They know you exist too, and they're out to get you. You know what
You
I'm
gotta
saying?
worry about those hunters.
Yeah, and then there's just the random crazy hunter that, you know. So nothing is safe in 5e, and that is what I like. Is my character very powerful? Yes. Maxed out celerity, maxed out potence, maxed out presence, obfuscate at level 4. I mean, I can do crazy shit. But if I do, there's that chance that I'll lose control and turn into a monster. And if you lose enough humanity, you become a white. And that's just a vampire that has forgotten how to be human. And whites are, you know, just open season. Everybody, you know, if you know there's a white in a region, you go kill that thing because it's a danger to everything and everyone. Because the only thing a white cares about is drinking as much blood as it can. That's it. They are completely ruled by hunger. Yeah, they did a great video on the Anarchs. I mean, they did a great video on being in the Camarilla, how, you know, the Camarilla, a lot of people run it like just a bunch of effete freaking wankers hanging around out, you know, freaking flouncing about. But the way they talk about it, it's like the cam is like the mob and everyone has to pay up. So it's like you pay up to your primogen pays up to the prince. And if you're not producing, you know, then you stop being necessarily worthwhile, you know? And then that's how you lose respect within your clan, you know? And the next thing you know, any advantages you had, like titles or lands or anything like that, you know, they're being stripped from you because you're just shitty at, you know, paying the VIG. So yeah, it turns the vampire game into a mob game, which is what it should be, you know? It's what it should be. It's a mob game, except with a lot of blood involved. So I absolutely loved that video. I loved it so much that I told the guy who ran our game, you need to watch that video. And he did. And he took their advice. And our vampire game got way better. Way better. You know, because now we've got the Giovanni, they're up to bullshit. We've got, you know, the Primogen, who I'm actually cool with. But then we've got, you know, the Prince. And I don't think the Prince likes me very much because I asked for domain and he gave me like the shittiest part of the city. So my domain is just full of meth addicts and crackheads, which in a way is good because in 5th edition, the type of blood you drink can give you bonuses on disciplines. So if I drink the blood of a meth addict, it actually gives me a bonus on my celerity powers because I'm all like, rah, you know, wired up and shit. But so my character's been spending a lot of time with my crew. I've got crew, pretty much running around and clearing out drug dens and trap houses and shit like that, and trying to make the place a little bit better so that we can get actual legit business in there, which we will, of course, strong arm for insurance, which won't be strong arm for me because of my level of presence. I'll just walk in and be like, hey, you want to pay me money so that, you know, nothing bad happens. And they'll be like, that's true. You know what I mean? Or I'll get the other character in the group that's got like the high level dominate to do it. Either way, we're going to get our money. That's the thing. However it happens, we're going to be getting money. And then the money and the blood gets paid up. And then the influence and the love and protection gets paid down. Because, I mean, we all know what happens if you piss the prince off enough, right?
You're not gonna last long.
Well, if you piss him off enough, he may just call you into Elysium to like dress you down in front of everybody,
Yeah,
which would suck. But he could also just, have you killed.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, complain, bitch. Maybe go to your primogen and be like, what the fuck? But your primogen, 99% of the time, is going to be like, hey, I mean, it's me or you at this point. I put in a good word for you, but hey, you pissed him off. You haven't been pulling your weight. So now, you get to see the sunlight. I suggest leaving the city, which is always an option. The character I'm currently playing is actually got a blood hunt on his head in the city of New York. On Tuckamel, yeah, that was a good one too. I have all the Tuckamel books. I would never run it because it's too weird, and I don't think my players would appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like if I tried to run that game with the aliens and the weird Roman Aztec culture and everything like that, yeah, I don't think my players would be huge fans. Most of the time, my players are very much vanilla fantasy players. That's kind of what they like. You know, they kind of like the Tolkien-esque worlds. Unless we're playing sci-fi, in which case, whatever. I can hear my wife watching something about some football player doing something. So, what if you do a good job, but the prince still wants you dead? That's a personal issue, and you're probably going to die. Or you're going to have to get together with other members in the city, convince them that the prince is being a dick and that his charges against you are unjust, etc., and quite possibly lead a coup, or you might think about going anarch and just be like, you know what, f this prince. I'm going anarch. I'm going to do my own thing. And if you go anarch, I mean, pretty much as long as you don't cause too much problems, they kind of ignore you. So it's still not like ideal, because the thing with an anarch is, I mean, there's a reason you want to be a member of the Camarilla. And that is that if you're a member of the Cam, you can expect a certain level of protection from other vampires. That's what the Cam does. It's like an insurance game. It's like if you're a member of the Cam in good standing, it means no other vampire in the Cam in that region is allowed to F with you without the prince saying so. So the movie to watch, I think, would be Goodfellas. And the three guys in Goodfellas, that would be like a coterie. and they're out there earning, and they're paying up to their whoever, which would be Paulie, and Paulie's paying up to whomever he's paying up to. And because they're earners, no one's allowed to F with them. But then, of course, they break the rule and they kill the one dude. Pretend he's another vampire that just happened through town, but they killed his ass for insulting him without permission from the prince. So now the prince knows they killed him, but he doesn't call the blood hunt publicly. He just sets it into motion to the one who caused the whole thing to take that dude out. And he does by subterfuge, invites him, hey, let's get you a maid, that would be like in Vampire. The prince sends you a letter and says, meet me. I'm going to send my driver around to pick you up. We're going to promote you to be a whip or whatever. You're going to serve the sheriff. You're going to be we're going to promote you up. You're going to have more power, right? So your character goes there alone thinking, oh man, great. And then you get to the place and they stake your ass and lay you out into the sun. And the rest of your coteries like, what in the actual F just happened here? You know what I'm saying? Cain lives. Yeah, you can say that in both spellings. Because in the vampire game, which is what we're talking about, Cain also lives. I'm going to fill my water glass because I drink a lot of water. So I'm walking away. You guys stare at the wall for a minute. And
oh, God.
Hey, beautiful. How you doing? Have I told you how pretty you are today? You are very pretty today. I meant to tell you that when I went to the store, but I got distracted by the pup. And then we had the bird issue. Hopefully that's working out. I don't know. All right, so might as well be the same guy. Yeah, but if I were going to look at a movie as inspiration to run a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition game, it would 100% be Goodfellas. 100%. And everything that happens in Goodfellas is like some shady vampire shit. I mean, right down to the fact that they force that guy to burn his club down so they can get money. Just add a little blood sucking and some supernatural shit to it, and Goodfellas may as well be a vampire movie. I mean, because let's be honest, the Goodfellas were a bunch of parasites, and that's what vampires are. So that would be the coterie. Danny, or not Danny DeVito, Pesci would probably be Ventru, just a very angry Ventru. De Niro would be probably Bruja, because he was the one that was like the hitman and,
so what? I'm
charming.
Like a clown to you?
Huh?
So what? I'm like a clown to you? So I make you laugh? Am I funny?
Yeah, that guy. He would be Ventru. Because Ventru have this deal where if they feel like you slighted them, they have like a supernatural desire to get even. And then the last guy, I don't know what clan he would fit into the best. But yeah, that's what he'd be. And yeah. And then, of course, all the higher ups would probably be Ventru, like Paulie and all of the guys above that, they would be Ventru for sure. So, That's a good question. I mean, there's quite a few of you guys listening. Probably some of you I know just got me on in the background because I know a lot of you guys do that. And I appreciate it. I do. So I'm not talking shit. If you put me on just so that I have numbers up there, that's great. Also, remember, commenting is awesome. You know, it's a great thing when people comment on videos because, I mean, YouTube's dying anyway. That's why I simulcast to Rumble because, I mean, the thing with YouTube is the algorithm is really designed now to make you go and look at Fox News or some other actual major
network instead of what it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be like independent creators and goofballs like me doing long form content. Then they added shorts, which whatever, you know. If you like them, awesome. If you don't, I don't care either way, whatever. But now it's like all freaking mainstream media guys who, in my opinion, got no business being on YouTube, but they're all on YouTube. And YouTube is they're just selling out everything. Billy Bats, that's the guy they killed, right? Billy Bats, he'd be a Ventrue. And that's also why they had to be taken out. Because not only would Billy Bats be a Ventrue, but he probably would have been a titled Ventrue, like high up in the clan, you know, like he knew shit, and he had friends. Specifically, the Prince himself might have been acquainted with Billy Bats. So the fact that a bunch of idiots murder this guy, you know, and like in the movie, we saw how they did it. But if we're talking vampires, you know, they would have staked him and left him out in the sun to kill him. It doesn't matter, though, is the thing. It doesn't matter how they killed him. The fact is, they killed a Ventrue vampire who was high up in the organization somehow, and they did it without permission from the Prince, which they would never have gotten anyway. Yeah, go get your shine box. And the only reason the other two got a pass is because the Prince decided to put all the blame on the Prince decided to put all the blame on Pesci's character. And he decided to treat the rest of the coterie as just idiots that went along with it. But by doing what he did to Pesci, the Prince, because we're talking vampire here, definitely sent a signal. You know what I'm saying? He definitely put those guys and everyone else in the city at that lower level on notice that if you F up, you know, you will visit the sunlight, right? Let's say that. So, yeah, I'm telling you right now, the next time you watch Goodfellas, just pretend everyone in the movie's a vampire. And think about this, too. After they robbed the Lufthansa, you know, and all that, whatever the hell that was all about, of course they paid Paulie. So Paulie loved them because they paid him, you know, more than his share probably. So Paulie was loving them at that moment. But those other guys they were hanging out with, those were other vampires, let's say, right? Or ghouls. They killed them all. But no one knew they killed them all. So that's kind of the thing. And the Prince probably, even if he suspected they killed all those dudes, didn't care because, you know, it was a good idea to kill them all, right? Because you don't want to be found out by the Inquisition. So these guys, they might have given some shit away. So yeah, you get rid of them. That's a good thing. So yeah. So that is my advice on that. We can keep talking about stuff. I got a little bit more time. Yeah, Donnie Brasco, but he's Cam infiltrating the Sabbat. Yeah, Deckard's got it, man. You can take any gangster movie, just about any mob movie at all, and just convert it to vampire. And it wouldn't be hard. So if you're a DM out there, or a GM, however you like to be referred to, and you're thinking, hey, I might want to run some Vampire 5th Edition sometime. Well, follow the advice of Black Lodge, and I'm repeating it here. Watch a bunch of gangster movies and run your game like that. Where the players are all part of a coterie and possibly have other loyalties, and they've got to make good on certain things, or bad things could happen to them. And that I think would be a very interesting, good game. Oh yeah, can you imagine trying to recreate all of the? So you think Ray Liotta's character was Gangrel? Could have been. He could have been a city Gangrel, because there is a subclass of Gangrel in the game called City Gangrel that gets rid of animalism and gets obfuscate. Just like there's a subclass of Bruja that drops presence but gets dominate. The more books you buy, the more weird shit that's in them, But apparently the Bruja with dominate are called the European Bruja. And the best known one is the Prince of Dublin, Donald Oak something. And yeah. He's a Bruja prince, and dominate is his Luca Brasi and Godfather. Huh. Yeah. Oh, I get it. I missed that. I see above where you said what you said. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe. The guy did live through basically everything. It wasn't for lack of people trying to kill him, because there were a lot of people trying to kill that dude. So, what a good movie. Not the best. Like a lot of people will say, this is the best movie in the world. I disagree. Respectfully, I disagree. Now, is the Godfather movies good? Yes, they are good movies. But the best movie ever made, in my opinion, is Casablanca. It has everything. You can watch it with your girl because it's got romance. You're going to like it because it's got war and patriotism and no Germans being bad guys, and, a shady little French guy. It's awesome. Beckett's Jihad Diary. The last books I bought for the game, should we start playing it again, is I bought the Player's Guide, which is just all the shit you need to know as a player and none of the stuff you need to know as a GM. So they basically took the core book and just took all the player stuff and put it here. Good idea, actually.
Yeah.
And then I bought this. I haven't even read it, but it's for the storyteller to read. And it gives you like a bunch of different scenarios on exactly what in the hell is going on. Like all the different factions, new advantages and flaws, 19 new disciplines. Freaking, so, you know, there's a lot of this explains why all of the vampires that are older than 12th gen are gone. Because in 5th edition, you can't go to 8th gen. You 12, it is the best you're going to do is 12.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. It is. The oldest your vampire will be is maybe 200 years old. So, you know, no more characters rolling around talking about how they met Jesus and shit like that. My character was embraced during the Communist Revolution and was a distant relative, like a third cousin of Tsar Nicholas. I hate communists, despise them. Also, in 5e, the bourgeois have all left the Camarilla and become anarchs. I didn't, because there is a faction of bourgeois called the Hellenes, and they stayed loyal. So if I run into a bourgeois with a Che Guevara hat on talking some shit, I probably pull his head off. You know what I'm saying? I got no love for commies. It's like I have to actually make willpower checks if somebody starts talking Marxist dogma around me, or I'll just fly into a rage and kill somebody. And, you know, at my level of disciplines, I've got the one discipline that makes it where my hand damage is actually aggravated damage to vampires. So if I fire, basically what I'm saying is if I fire up my abilities, especially my obfuscate plus fleetness ability, which allows me to vanish and reappear in front of you and punch you, and I only need one success to hit, and everything else past that is extra damage. And then with my strength and potence and the fact that I'm doing ag damage, chances are, unless you have those disciplines yourself, that you're getting ready to roll a new character. Because, you know, you're probably just going to be skewered, you know, like the Terminator. I put my fist through you and pull your freaking heart out. So, yeah. Not that any of you will be joining our game, but if you were, I would say do not play commie because your character will not last long. I do not tolerate none of it. Tankies, none of it. They all get got. Because my character still holds a grudge over what happened to the Imperial family. So, you know, it is as it is, guys. The Jihad Diary. I'll have to look into that, though. And playing like in 5e, you can already play like a thin blood where you're practically a human, but you can use vampire blood and alchemical processes to give yourself disciplines. And so that's kind of cool, you know. I agree with you, George. But that is my character. And then I hang out with a Ventru who is his specific diet. You know how Ventru have a specific diet? His is post-op transsexual people. So he walks around dressed up like Ziggy Stardust, and he hangs out in all the bars and stuff where people of that nature hang out, and he eats them because he's a weirdo. That's his problem. He is a damn weirdo. But, I mean, that's another thing. Any of you that have read 5th edition know that there's like predator types and, you know, so it's no longer just a matter of, I'm making a vampire. Okay, whatever. There's actual predator types like that define how you hunt. And then as a Ventru, of course, your clan penalty is you have to pick a specific type of victim. And if you try to ingest the blood of someone not of that type, you got to make, I think, a willpower check or vomit all of the blood up. So, and it can be class, it can be a lot of things, but it's got to be fairly specific. So you can't say men. I can only feed on men. You can't say that. But you could say I can only feed on blonde men. That might be a little bit better. A DM might let you get away with that one. That's a thing that a lot of people who play vampire and play Ventru don't play into as much as they should. Really. The fact that they have rarefied taste. So, so we've went from, well, Leth has been super quiet. Leth, why are you being super quiet?
Sorry, I don't have much to add on this.
Huh. Have you gamed recently? Satya got to play Burrow Mace.
I might be able to play tomorrow, but for the most part, no.
I'm pulling for you, bro.
I've got only one game left. It's sometimes once every 3 weeks.
I'm telling you, though, I'm pulling for you. If we lived in the same area, you'd be invited to my game. You know that, right?
That'd be good, but I'm not.
No, I said if.
I live in the middle.
But I'm telling you, I feel like I know you well enough. I'd invite you to sit at the table and eat whatever delicious casserole my wife made and play games with us.
Sounds nice.
You seem like a nice enough guy. I feel like, I could trust you not to try to steal all my shit or whatever. But, yeah. I got to get in touch with the guy who bought all of my junk. It wasn't junk. It was actually good stuff, Warhammer stuff. Because I'm getting ready to sell a 40K Death Guard army. And it's huge, It's a huge ass army. And he was such a good customer about everything that he asked me if I had other stuff I wanted to sell, would I let him know before I posted it? And I'm like, yeah, he seemed like a nice guy. So he may not want it. He might be like, nah, I'm not really interested in a bunch of Death Guard tanks and shit. So infantry and mutants and a greater demon. But, or he might be like, hell yeah, I'm interested. The one thing, I sold all my Imperial Guard tanks, but I'm having a real problem selling the actual infantrymen. You know what I mean?
I guess
So I've just started
really
using one-page rules and making armies that are just all infantry.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of people are looking for the tanks right now, huh?
I mean, yes. Not right now, always,
Always.
And I had enough tanks with the Baneblade and everything like that I could field a 2,500 point army of nothing but tanks and chimeras. So I could field an armored platoon or so. Company.
We've had a bird flying around our thing crying when the baby bird cries. So I set the baby bird outside for a second and the bird came down to look at it, but then Bear freaked out, so I brought Bear back inside. I think the mama may be looking for the baby.
The problem is, hey, that's not a bad idea, and hopefully the mama can take the baby back to the nest. That would be ideal.
I put the bird outside.
We found a baby bird, guys. We're trying to keep it alive. It's obviously fell out of a nest somewhere, and my wife says the mama bird is flying around the backyard.
Because the bird's
Oh, sad part is
because the
depending
baby bird's crying.
on the type of bird that might not recognize its child because of smell now. Or is that a myth?
It's some kind of like a mockingbird or something like that.
Mm.
It's a songbird. It's some kind of small little songbird, you know, that twitters and cheeps and carries on in the weeds, you know. And I mean, it's not what I wanted to deal with, obviously. Like I woke up this morning and was like, you know what? I want to try and keep a freaking bird alive. You know, I had nothing better to do. Let's just do that, right? No, I would much rather its mama deal with it. But I mean, it's not hungry or thirsty because I mean, it was in the box I put it in, and I got some food and like tapped the top of its beak, and it opened up, and I've dropped the food in, and it was like, rah, 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 rah. So I mean, hopefully, what I remember about chickens is true of whatever kind of bird this is, which was chickens will eat anything. So I fed it wet dog food.
Mm.
And I'm hoping, you know, that's agreeable to it, you know, a bunch of wet dog food. Because I imagine, I mean, it eats worms, right?
Yeah.
So if it's eating worms, it's probably going to be okay with some, you know, wet dog food. That's my theory. You guys wish me luck on this because, yep, we rode to the store to pick up some beef jerky and some other stuff. And in the literally maybe 10 minutes we were gone, there's a baby bird standing in front of our door freaking out. That would be cool. You know what I mean? The problem, William, that I have, and this is a problem I have ranted about multiple times. Who
Can't let
knows?
him play
Maybe we
Malkavian.
can get Black Lodge Games to do a video on this if they watch any part of this or somebody talks to them. I have yet to ever hardly play with anyone who played Malkavians anywhere near what I would call correctly. It's like they almost make a mockery out of whatever mental illness they claim they have. And I mean, whatever. I mean, I guess people are having fun, so I shouldn't be so judgmental and shit. But, you know, I always think if I were going to play a Malkavian, I would try to play a Malkavian that everyone would think was absolutely normal, but I would have some horrible secret, like an alter identity that's literally a serial killer or, you
Jekyll
know,
and Hyde.
maybe like that, or maybe like the guy from American Psycho.
Or that,
You know, I'd be that guy that's constantly working out and getting in shape and super materialistic, but like on the inside, I'm a ravening monster. Because he was definitely for sure crazy, that guy. Whether he killed anybody or not, I mean, I think you can argue pretty honestly that he did kill that bum. But did he kill the women? Probably not. It was probably all in his head. But you guys get the point I'm making, I'm sure, because you're smart guys. You get it. You know, I would play something scary. I think there is a problem in the Vampire the Masquerade community, like all the people who play Masquerade, where they don't actually play vampires like the monsters they are.
They play them like superheroes.
They play them like superheroes or horny goth people. And it's just like, I guess that's okay if you're playing a Toreador or something, but I mean, if you're going to play a Bruja, I expect you at some point to try to lead a revolution against something, or to be obsessed with something, knowledge. you know, deciphering some ancient cuneiform. I mean, something, right? I mean, every clan has a thing they should be doing. If you're playing Ventru, well, you should be involved in, I don't know,
Politics.
ripping people off on cryptocurrencies
That.
and whatever you're doing, right? And Gangrel, they're easy. You're just hanging out in the woods, you know?
Howling at the moon.
Yeah, howling at the moon, doing your thing. Nosferatu, you're gathering as much info as you can on everyone because you're the guy who wants to know everything. Malkavians, though, the Malkavians should be the scariest clan, and 99.9% of the time they're not. They're just people pretending to be goofy, and it's like, yeah, but see, like the shadow draining people. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. You're right. But no, I'm talking about real mental illness, which that's a mental illness. You're definitely schizophrenic or something. But I'm talking about pick up a book, maybe even the DRM5 or something, DMR, whichever. I think it's DMR or whatever.
Feel like that one Malkavian from the game.
Yeah, pick up a damn book and read about psychosocial conditions and then play that. You know, like someone who's convinced they're the only actual real thing in the universe. Or what the F ever, you know, like be scary. You know, make the other characters at the table uncomfortable.
Be the psychiatrist,
but not throw it in their face. The idea of being afraid of a Malkavian is that you know that this Malkavian is a sociopath in some way and does horrible, horrible, horrible things. But you don't know how and when. You just know he does. And the fact that you don't know what his major malfunction is the thing that will make that character real and horrible.
Hey, James, could you make a Malkavian that's a psychiatrist?
Absolutely. The one Malkavian in the Masquerade game, she had a split personality, and one of her personalities was like a psycho goth scene girl slut.
Yeah.
And the other one was this really like uptight, by the book rules businesswoman. And they were constantly switching back and forth. And it turned out the reason she'd went that way is she had been abused as a child. And when she got turned into a Malkavian, the trauma from her childhood surfaced and she became that. So on the one hand, she's all wearing the weird makeup and the ponytails and, you know, dressing and acting slutty. And then the next time you see her, she's in this business suit, freaking with her little business glasses on, being a real pain right in the
good job on that, because I didn't realize what was happening until the very end on that one.
Yeah, at first, because they call each other sister.
Yeah.
So you're like, and then in the end, you realize they're not sisters.
They're the same person.
They're the same person. They're just really effed up. So, I mean, yeah, that's just my grumble. And that's just, as we all know, grognard or grognard is just French for grumbler. And I am a grognard. And that's my grumble. I just don't think people play Malkavians correctly. I think Malkavians are the scariest clan because you can never predict what the F they're going to do.
Or what they actually do know.
Yeah, because of the Malkavian network.
Yep.
You know, they know shit they shouldn't know. Time doesn't affect them necessarily the way it should. And they might have a hobby of liking to, you know, rearrange the intestines of people they've killed and dissected. You don't know. You don't know. Now, the Ventru I hang out with, part of his exclusive feeding thing is he can't live off the blood. He has to literally consume the liver. So every time he feeds, his victim dies, which means his humanity is very low. And he carries, a scalpel around with him so that he can
properly feed.
And he's got like a really high level in the medical skill. So he could practically be a doctor, So
I
yeah.
wouldn't want him to be my doctor.
Yeah, weird guy that likes to cut people open and pull their stuff out and eat their livers. That's not cool. But
how do I open this?
Let's see now. I got these guys done.
Oh well,
I've got a lot of stuff done. I think, yeah, I need to do this guy's clothes, but I'll show him to you. One of the knuckleheads in my game decided he wanted to play a mutant muskrat. So here he is, a mutant muskrat. And it's like, okay, have fun with your mutant muskrat. Looks like he's wearing chainmail armor. It is chainmail armor. So I just need to grab my silver, paint him up some chainmail. And then he's got a coat underneath that, which I'm thinking green, green. I don't think people use green enough. And it was, like in medieval ages, one of the more common colors because, literally. Yeah, there is that one clan that has to consume flesh. You're right. Well, there's a flaw you can take, which is a major flaw called organivore. And if you take that flaw, it means you cannot live on blood. You have to literally eat an organ from, like he couldn't just eat thigh meat off of a victim. It has to be the liver. Otherwise, yeah, it's nothing. It has to 100% be the liver. That's the organ he picked. So, still makes him creepy though, And it's kind of like a disadvantage, but in a way it's an advantage too, because the only way to get your hunger to 0 is to completely drain / kill your victim. And, like pretty much, I guess, like drink their soul or whatever. And that's what he kind of does every time he feeds. So he is the only one that after feeding has no hunger dice till he earns them, Whereas everyone else in the game, if you don't kill the victim you're feeding on, you can't get rid of the last hunger die. You always have that hunger die hanging out, reminding you that the beast is forever just there. But he doesn't have that. Now, what he pays for is his humanity is very low. So if he doesn't dress up like Ziggy Stardust with the dyed hair and all the makeup and shit like that, you can absolutely tell there's something fucked up with him. He does not look alive. So yeah, and that is part of his clever way of doing things. If you're dressed up like some wild punk rocker doing the Ziggy Stardust from the 70s thing with the bright red hair and makeup and the whole 9 yards, you can kind of hide the fact that you look like a corpse because your humanity is 4. I think it's 4. And at Humanity 4, he's at the point where killing humans does not even affect him. So there will be no path to Golconda for him. He is definitely not going to Golconda. No ands or buts, no coconuts. He will not be getting his humanity back. He can just go ahead and hang that shit right up. And, eventually he will probably become a white, at which point, everybody will be called on to hunt him down and kill him. So, and he knows it, like he knows that's his future. His future is he's probably at some point going to lose so much humanity that he gets blood hunted and killed. And he don't care. Because, because that's just the way it be, man. My character is actually the nicest character in the game to humans. My character is so nice that I have a good relationship with the local Orthodox priest who does not know I'm a vampire. But I do pop in some evenings just to talk to him. And luckily he don't use true faith on me or anything. So, that would be awkward if he were to pop a cross out and be like, "Hi, bitch." And I'd be like, "Ah." But as far as he knows, I'm just a Russian immigrant. And as far as my group knows, they don't know where I'm from because I never speak Russian in front of them. And I paid the point to be fluent in English, so I don't have an accent. So, yeah. No one in my group has a clue where my character is from, or even my name. I go by James Ryder. And but my real name is Gennady Romanov. But anyone who might have known that's dead by now. So, but yeah. Let's talk about something for a couple minutes. Tell us something because I'm getting ready to end the stream. And
Well, I don't know what to say. I do have this new magazine that I've been trying to open up.
okay, why are you having a hard time opening a magazine?
I don't know how it works.
Oh, never mind. My mind went somewhere else. But I'm with you now.
Yeah, it's got one of those little spacers in there, and I want to take it out.
Why the hell would they put a spacer in there?
I have no clue. The other ones that I got from that same store for the same gun doesn't.
Maybe you accidentally or they accidentally sold you a California legal magazine.
Maybe
Because I think in California you cannot have more than 10 rounds.
Well, then this would still not be compliant.
Because it holds more than 10 rounds, but you want
well over more. 10 rounds. It holds, I think, around 30 with the spacer in it.
Okay. Is it for your space gun?
Yeah.
Have you considered going on YouTube and typing in how to take apart the magazine of a space gun?
I've looked it up. It seems like everybody shows how them already opened up and shows like other things, just not how to open it up. I guess they
I'm
expect
getting
you
ready
to know
to have an adventure myself, bro.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to have to replace the LCD screen on my Saturn IV Ultra.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little pissed off because I bought it a month ago and the screen's already effed.
I guess it doesn't matter too much that this one mag has a spacer in it, but it still annoys me.
Right. You want it not to. I don't know. Maybe just go maybe on the website of the company that made the thing, they have
maybe
instructions.
I'll have
on how
4
to
mags
F with
without the
thing.
spacer at least, but I want the full 5 mags not to have it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. That's what I would do. I would go to the actual
Yeah.
the
Also,
actual
might be a good idea to learn how to do it anyway, so I'll know how to clean it out when I need to or replace the springs.
Absolutely. Because I mean, you never know, right? And those firearms, those little they're a little bit complicated, to deal
Yeah.
with. So
Yeah, this one has the mags on there are also very complicated because they have this roller system for the ammo to actually place it in the right way to get it in the gun.
yeah, because the bullets are actually facing down.
Not facing down, it goes sideways in the mag and then rotate into it.
Yeah, okay. I misunderstood. I thought the bullets were facing down and they like went down and then rotated and went in.
No, the mag is the top thing on top of the thing, on top of the gun, and it's sideways and it rotates around into the into the chamber.
That is very complicated.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, my suggestion would just be to go to their webpage and
The reason was that they allow for a lot of rounds to be put into a more compact position.
oh yeah, I get it. I get why they would do that, but my suggestion would just be to go to their webpage and
How many other guns can have like 50 round capacities?
oh look, it actually focused in for a second.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There he is. There he is, a little mutant muskrat with a couple of axes and a lantern, wearing a chainmail shirt, ready to go out into the gamma world and prove himself. Because the first adventure the players will be on will, of course, be a rite of passage. They have to go out into the world for X amount of weeks, try to find as much stuff that will help their civilization and bring it back and not die.
I am happy this thing did come with 5 magazines, though.
That is, damn, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to be able to buy many others.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't handle whatever business you need to handle with 550 round magazines, I think you just lay down and let it eat you. Just be like, yeah, this is just how it's going to be.
Another weird thing about the gun, though, it has 3 iron sights.
Why?
Well, one on the left, one on the right. They wanted to make it ambidextrous, but there's also one in the middle where the rail is.
The French are so weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, this isn't French. It's a Dutch company, Fabrique Nationale.
Yeah, but the French adopted it.
Eh.
You know what they're using now, though, the French?
What's that?
The M416s.
Ah, yeah.
Which is just an AR chambered in a different round.
And I think they made them a little bit smaller, too.
Yep. It's just an AR in a different round.
Originally,
like all of NATO wanted them to pick like a different thing, and the French, of course, were like, nah.
The original, though, P90 didn't even have 3. It had one little peephole, like, sight in the middle, and then had the rail so you could put on optics.
Yeah, because it was designed for some dude sitting in a tank. That
rear echelon
shit, there's enemy running up on us. let me grab my freaking P90
It was
and
designed for rear echelon groups, not
get
just
killed.
tankers.
You know what I mean? A lot of those weapons. There's tons of those kind of weapons that are designed specifically for like the
Rear
truck
echelon.
drivers, the tankers, the whatever, artillerymen.
It'll work fine for it too. I mean, really, do you need a full rifle for everyone?
Oh, well, my answer is yes, but the military says no. Now, in the U.S. Army, the answer to that question is yes, you do.
Yeah.
Everyone will get an M16A2. Everyone. Except for your infantrymen who will get M4s with ACOGs now. So,
I
how
get
does
it,
that
but
make sense? The rear echelon MFers are getting the rifle that's accurate out to 350 yards,
I
and the
don't get that.
infantry are getting a carbine that's, accurate out to maybe 150.
I don't get it. It's weird. I mean, I'd rather, give the full real rifles to the frontliners. And hey, let's just give the rear infantry something small and compact and easy to carry because they're not most likely going to be most likely in the fight. And it's easier for them to just carry something smaller.
Well, they do issue squads, not mechanized squads, because we don't need them because we got Bradley.
Yeah.
But a lot of squads get issued DMRs.
Yeah.
So you have like a squad, you'll have M4s, then you'll have grenadiers that'll have 203s, and then you'll have your LMG guy, and that's generally a 240 or 270, whichever the number is. And then you'll have your SBR guy, and in most units when I was in, that was an M21.
Hey, James, good news.
What?
Well, somewhat silver lining good news.
Right.
The GOA is suing about the NFA with the SBRs and silencers.
Yeah. Silencers, the idea that, I mean, it's like, get out of here.
If they successfully get that off the NFA, I'm getting myself a shorter barrel for the P90 and slapping a suppressor
Also,
on that thing.
the stupid SBR rule, get out of here.
Yeah.
I can own a pistol that fires 5.56, but I can't own a short barrel rifle that fires 5.56.
Which they'll look almost exactly the same, but one has a stock on it.
But one would have a little stock on it. It's like,
yeah,
a lot of these rules, and most of them come through the ATF. They don't even come through Congress.
Yeah.
Make no damn sense. It really is just like, what in the hell?
The big thing was that now that there's zero tax on them, it really doesn't make sense with what with what the judge said and what the judge said whenever it came up, because they're like, well, it's legal because it's not a registration of a gun, it's tax.
Right.
But the tax is set to zero, so it's no longer a tax now, it's a registration of your firearms.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that if I wanted to put a suppressor on a pistol, I would have to agree to let people come to my house all the time.
Yeah, I know. That might be
to see if I have it. And it's not that I have anything to hide. It's just the idea of it is like,
yeah,
no thanks.
It should not have been allowed in the first place.
It's like,
these laws that were supposedly supposed to keep the gangsters from getting it was more against the people who would probably need it the most.
What's funny is the number one tool gangsters used for hits was like a 38 revolver.
Yeah.
With no silencer. They just walk up behind you and get Genocidal Organ, a movie called Genocidal Organ. Is that a Finnish movie? Because I'll tell you what, Finnish movies are crazy as shit. I mean, I've seen some a Finnish horror movie. I'm trying to think of the name of it. it was just weird. It was like, what just happened, you know? I mean, you guys love your scary movies and your freaking death metal, don't you?
That's Belgian. It was a Belgian company that made them. Actually, the FN.
Yeah. But I mean, I was just talking to Satya about how, for such a friendly group of people, they seem to be obsessed with like the scariest horror movies you can think of and black metal. It's just like, you know, you would think they'd be listening to something nice, like a nice polka, you know, something like that. Their movies would be all nice. No, nope. Uh, the exact opposite, you know. I've got this video I got a meme I should share. I think I did share it, but I should find it and share it again. And it shows like a black metal band, and they all have their faces painted white, but with like black symbols on their faces, like King Diamond did. And in the middle of the picture, amongst the band, there's a husky, and it's white with the black markings. And at the bottom, it says day 253, and they still don't know. It's fucking husky, just hanging out with the black metal band. But yeah, Finns, man, you guys, your taste in things is extreme. Like, their scary movies are really, really weird, scary, and they listen to black metal, which is also, in my opinion, scary. It's like, it's not even like metal. When I think metal, I think Metallica, you know, Iron Maiden, something like that. Black metal is a guy screaming at you about demons. It's like, of course, my favorite, I think, Finnish song is not even done by Finnish metal band, but it's called, you've probably seen it too, Satya. It's called Musta Krakish, and it's by Death Clock. They like go to Finland and they play a song, and the song summons a gigantic troll out of a lake, and the troll begins basically devastating all of Finland. And then they have to do another song to get the troll to go back to sleep.
I think I'm going to have to head off here, though. I'll see ya.
I'll catch you later, man. I'm getting ready to wrap it up, too. But yeah, Musta Krakish. Like Musa Krakish. Awaken, awaken, take the land that must be taken. Awaken, awaken, awaken. Now you rise from 1,000 years of sleep. Right? Love that. I think they were in Finland. I think that was Finland. Because, yeah. I used to watch Metalocalypse all the time, and they always hid like other bands' names in the episodes. So like there'd be an episode where they would go to a grocery store, and the grocery store would be named like Fintroll or something like that, you know? And then if you looked it up, it would turn out that that was the name of like a Swedish or Finnish black metal band. But yeah, Metalocalypse, Death Clock, that's about as black metal as I'm willing to go. You know what I mean? Like, I'll listen to a song about mermaids killing each other, but some of that black metal, that it's just too screamy. Yeah, that was a great episode, wasn't it? And they're like, we's got to play. Swiss Guy's my favorite. And he's like, we's got to learn to play these grandpa guitars. you know, and then they realize none of them know how to read music. And they're like, how have you been doing? I don't, they've just been playing. I love cocaine. Yeah. I'm Roxo, the rock and roll clown. They based him on David Lee Roth. He's 100% based on David Lee Roth. And of course, in the TV show, he's like best friends with Toki. So yeah, Fintroll is also a grocery store that the Metalocalypse people go to when their cook gets cut into like a million pieces, and they're trying to feed themselves because none of them know how to cook anything. But yeah, Metalocalypse is really, I really enjoyed it. I really did. And in the end, it got all into Cthulhu stuff. Like, was the attorney for the band, was he Yog Sothoth, or was he trying to stop some kind of weird thing? I mean, great old ones, and I mean, it just got pretty wild. But anyway, it's been over 2 hours. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this fine afternoon. I hope you guys have an even better evening, and I will see you the next time. Peace and love. Wish me luck. I'm getting ready to go log into Dune and hopefully not die or get ate by a sandworm. So, just so you know, guys, peace and love to all of you, and good game.